Before Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, racial and class options and choices were interdependent. This was primarily due to fixed racial ability score bonuses favoring one set of classes over another. To a somewhat lesser extent, specific class feature and racial trait synergies also led to fewer optimal combinations. You could still play a Dwarf Sorcerer or a Gnome Barbarian, but you had to settle for a numerically suboptimal character sheet from the get-go. With this new Tasha meta allowing for fluid, flexible ability score bonuses, select few races rose to the top. Now, I have zero doubt some or maybe even a lot of you will disagree on which ones I consider to be the best. It's just how it goes with these top 5, top 10 kinds of posts and videos. We all have slightly different views, slightly different opinions and maybe experiences, and that's okay as far as I'm concerned. But before you destroy those buttons down below, crush the engagement metrics and push my channel to the top 5 spots in the YouTube algorithm, let me quickly point you to this video's sponsor. TANARES RPG Kickstarter campaign is near its end. With roughly 2.5 days left to go, there really isn't much time left to secure your pledge rewards. I've made 3 videos focusing specifically on these new classes, archetypes and spells found in the TANARES free samples. Check them out after you finish watching this video. All the links are in the description below. Let's kick things off with the number 5, which to me are the good old Mountain Dwarves. You know, they have always been the only race with both ability score bonuses pegged at +2 instead of the usual +2 and +1 split. Obviously, the possibility of switching these bonuses into other ability scores is super good. Dwarves also have a ton of weapon, armor and tool proficiencies that can be mixed and molded to really fit your specific character idea. Obviously, possibilities here are too many to talk about. Suffice to say, long gone are the days where the best a mountain dwarf could do was to be a fighter, a barbarian or maybe a paladin with a drinking problem, you know. So next time you make a monk, a wizard or a rogue and want to keep it simple but yet keep it powerful, make a mountain dwarf that everyone at the table will remember forever. With Alkenzar, my number 4. The main reason why these Ravnican perfectionists made it into this exclusive club is their Vedalken Dispassion trait, which gives them advantage on all mental saving throws. Now, you may be thinking, but Min-Max Munchkins, Satyrs and Yuan-Ti Purebloods have advantage on all saving throws, not just half of them. Well, my dear avid viewer, that isn't entirely true. For example, dragons have this thing called Frightening Presence, which, you know, you need to roll a wisdom saving throw against. No, it's not a magical thing, so even if you are a Satyr or Yuan-Ti, you don't have advantage against it. A lot of monsters have other non-magical action options that force you to roll one of the 3 mental ability saving throws, so this is where Vedalkens excel over everybody else. Tireless Precision is also nice because it stacks an additional d4 on top of the standard skill bonuses. If you think about it, you can make a Supreme Thief Rogue with expertise and sleight of hand and a d4 to fix bad rolls. Partially Amphibious falls into that category of traits that's often underrated, but whenever a body of water becomes a problem, you will find yourself not nearly as bothered by it as most other characters. As a whole, Vedalkens are a very neat little package. However, they do have one thing: they are the only race on this list that do not have dark vision, and if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that I value that trait a lot. But, you know, while Vedalkens are tapping in the darkness unable to see anything, let's slither over to the aforementioned Yuan-Ti Purebloods. Compared to gnomes, they're better because they have advantage on all saves, not just mental ones. Compared to satyrs, they're better because they have dark vision. Their immunity to poison will serve you well in a lot of cases, and their innate spellcasting is only bad due to dependency on charisma. But in the spirit of Tasha, it's not a big stretch to see if the DM allows changing this to wisdom or intelligence depending on what class and ability score bonuses you decide to go for. There really isn't much else to say about these serpentine weirdos, so let's move straight to number 2. Custom lineage brought by Tasha itself is not even really a specific race. It's up to you to flavor it to your own liking. Mechanically though, it is a variant human, but basically on steroids. It provides a +2 bonus to a single ability score instead of splitting that +2 in half over 2 different ones. Assuming both standard array or point buy, this is usually preferable because you can pair it with one of the 24 feats that give additional +1 ability score bonus. In other words, at level 1, you start with an 18 in your main ability score, you have a feat, and on top of that, you also have dark vision. This is obviously all super powerful, and you may be wondering, you know, how can anybody or anything even beat this? Well, in my opinion, half-elves still reign supreme. After all these years, now more than ever actually, to be honest. Yes, they may not get a feat at level 1 like the runner-up, but their unique ability score bonus profile, a set of always useful traits, a bunch of sub-races to better fit your needs, and finally, the infamous Elven Accuracy feat. All of these factors are why I just can't give them anything else but a gold medal. Now, even with Tasha enabling half-elves to explore beyond the confines of powerful charisma-based multi-class concepts, they still feel the best as Sorkadins, Sorlocks and Bardladins and Bardlocks to me personally. I've made a bunch of videos about half-elves in these kinds of roles, so if you're interested, go scroll through the video tab. They are there waiting for you to click on and be watched. I'd like to quickly go over a few honorable mentions, races that didn't quite make the cut but still offer meaningful benefits. Mark of Sentinel Human is an Ebron native that makes counterspell available to every spellcaster out there, not just wizards, sorcerers and bards. This is big because spells are usually the easiest way a DM can ruin a party's day. This is also the reason behind the racial choice for my Candlekeeper character build, because it made the already super powerful support concept even more formidable in combat. Mountain Dwarves' cousins from lower altitudes, the Hill Dwarves, make a lot of sense for wizards and sorcerers too. Otherwise, their stupid little d6 hit die is the quickest way to drop to 0 hit points. Turtle's inherent 17 armor class, or 19 with the shield in hand basically, is by far the easiest and most consistent way to avoid taking most damage coming your way at low levels. Spellcasters with shield spell can theoretically go higher, but spell slots are a rare commodity at low levels. Meanwhile, turtles can always rely on their tough shell to protect them from all sorts of trauma and abuse. Last but not least, Warforged was a very hard decision for me to make. The mighty trio of traits, Constructed Resilience, Sentry's Rest and Integrated Protection, was basically impossible to ignore and is impossible to ignore. However, the lack of Dark Vision puts it in direct competition with Vedalkens in my mind, and that's where mine takes over matter as far as I'm concerned. Now that I think of it, this should have probably been a top 10 video, not a top 5 one. Maybe next time. We'll see. Once again, if you haven't yet, check out the TANARES RPG Kickstarter campaign. There really isn't much time left before it's over, so if your wallet still has some buying power, you know where to direct it. And if you wanna chuck a few bucks my way, the video script text file for this video is available for download on my Patreon page under the Fireball tier. It's not mandatory, it's 100% optional, especially in these troubled, globally challenging economic times, but if you do find the Patreon perks worth the trouble, worth your time and worth your money, consider supporting my efforts there. Special shout out as always to all of my current patrons. Thank you for your continued support. Make sure you murder hobo those buttons down below for the YouTube algorithm, you know, if you still haven't. With everything said and done, MinMax Munchkin out, and talk to you soon.